Greenwald retweets or like tweets this article, but he's not the one that wrote the article. I think we should just talk about the article directly. It's this article by Andrew Kahn for Slate, and the title is "Liberals Have Turned Trump into a Gay Villain Because Our Worst Villains Must Be Gay." And he kind of details how like being gay has been used in the past to undermine political movements, both by the left and the right. So he talks about McCarthyism, how McCarthyism initially targeted gay men, saying that like their gayness was like a manifestation of sort of like decadence and like loss of morals, which were like kind of ideas derived from like psychology philosophers. So like the right would link homosexuality with communism and the left would link homosexuality with fascism, and they basically just like talked about Nazism as something having to do with like men having some sort of Oedipal complex, and they would like cite Freud. Of course, Freud needs to like go die. I was gonna say go suck a dick, but go die. Not appropriate for this context. And they would basically just be like, yeah, and Hitler is like the father figure.
But it's fascist leaders in general, like fascist father figure.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's just like talking about how this has always been a theme, and how right now we're seeing like a resurgence of it on the left, of people like referring to Trump and Putin as like butt buddies, or like Colbert was assailed for calling Trump Putin's cock holster, and like those sorts of things. And what exactly is his argument? I mean, like obviously it's bad on like an intuitive level, but he articulates why.
He says that this is like a part of a larger phenomenon of a type of humor. So it's like it's a homophobic humor that isn't intentionally homophobic, especially because right now it's being perpetuated by mainly liberals who certainly are not homophobic or don't identify as homophobic. But that he's saying it's a phenomenon that exists in a sort of larger type of humor that is like, what does he call it? Like ironic.
Yeah, I mean, this one paragraph that I think is nice is he says, nobody is thinking about Theodor Adorno, Adorno, I think, was the one who like sort of talked about this specific link between homosexuality and fascism. But nobody's thinking about Theodor Adorno or Joseph McCarthy when they call Donald Trump gay on Twitter, but the image of gay men as preening, effeminate drones drawn from psychiatric sophistry saturated popular culture for decades and lingers to this day. Think of the gay villain trope. Our decadent president fits the mold well enough. He is shamelessly narcissistic, laughably gauche, cosmically disappointed, aspirant to fame and fortune, and a convincing symbol of our country's postmodern ills. So yeah, just like this idea that homosexuality was used as a symbol of the death of society through decadence.
He says, like a lot of liberal comedy right now, it serves a fantasy of resistance through snark.
What does that mean? It serves a fantasy of resistance. Oh, like it's not true resistance.
Yeah.
It's just snark. And the fact that like Trump doesn't seem to actually care about homosexuality, it like further is a waste of time and is like mostly just homophobic and like non-productive.
I guess that's what it means by it seems it's like serves this idea that you're being resisted and that you're like hating on Trump, but like he's certainly not paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Like then it's also an iteration of homophobia that's like kind of like latent or just not explicit.
Yeah, the one thing I do want to say, like, yes, I agree that it's homophobic, but it's combined with this other thing, which is that like we view sexual relationships as like the most intimate form of relationship. And so if you really want to like drive home the point that like two people are like two peas in a pod, then you ultimately have to say that they're in a sexual relationship.
Right.
Like in the same way that people say like Oprah and Gayle are together, you know, like that sort of thing. I don't know if you're familiar with
I'm
that.
not, but no. Yeah, like you could like think about if one of these politicians was a woman. That would make a whole other tone, obviously, and it would probably be sexist in a.
It would be sexist. It would be Republicans saying like really fucked up shit about Hillary.
Like that, yeah, like in a slut-shamey way, probably. Like if Hillary was like
in a slut-shamey way, or like
let's not use Hillary.
Gross rape jokes.
That's confusing, but yeah, like if like a man and a woman politician were like really being two peas in a potty, first of all, maybe people would be a lot more like careful, especially liberals probably wouldn't make sexual jokes because they would realize that that was like inappropriate. And like I think part of the gay joke about two ostensibly, or rather the gay like homoerotic jokes about two publicly straight men is
Powerful straight men.
The reason it's sort of like okay, I think, for people is because they're not actually gay, and
Right.
they're using it just like, yeah, as like a metaphor for a relationship. Like if a man and a woman who are both straight were meeting, then saying that they were having a sexual relationship would be like way too real, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would also suggest like the way that the gay thing in this instance is used to describe how like Putin is dominant over Trump. That's what it's used to describe. Whereas if you were saying like, oh, a man and a woman are having sex, then that, like, yes, that could also be relayed as like male dominance over women, but it could also be relayed as like
Seductive.
yeah, manipulation by the woman to get like what she wants through sex.
Yeah, and which means that I, at the end of the day, agree with this article that the issue here isn't about the sexualization. It really is explicitly homophobic because it's sort of degrading like a homosexual relationship as being this like kind of like unhealthy, decadent, like all of these, like that they have a kind of a problematic relationship where like one of them is like passive, yeah, and the other one is like taking advantage, and it's kind of rapey, and it's like, but it's also not, and it's
yeah, I mean, it's at its most basic, it's just like taking gay sex, which is something that a lot of people have and like is a form of intimacy and is like central to a lot of people's lives, and making it a way of degrading two world leaders when like there's things about them that are way worse, you know, that you could like talk about their relationship in a different way that's like could be portrayed as like way more disgusting and actually like morally corrupt. Like all the fodder is there for that, and yet people default to just being like, haha, like Trump takes it in the ass from Putin.
Yeah, or like meeting with your butt buddy, or like what position are you taking? That like people, I'm it's like pretty surprising that people just like speak this way publicly.